Good afternoon and welcome to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. Before we get started today, we just learned as we gone on air that Senator John Fetterman has checked into the Walter Reed Medical Center to receive treatment for clinical depression. Of course, Fetterman is the senator out of Pennsylvania who um, had a stroke, and folks were really concerned about him during the election when he ultimately defeated Dr. Oz there. So our thoughts are with Senator Fetterman today as he checks into Walter Reed Medical Center. They're calling it clinical depression, um, recovering from a stroke as well. So uh, again, our best to him. Now, this special edition of Let It Be Known, we anticipated talking with the Congressman Bennie Thompson out of Mississippi on a very, very pressing matter that many are not talking about, or they're not talking about enough. Lawmakers in Mississippi are at odds. Is a bill that would create, and it's moving through. It already passed the House, and now it goes to the heavily favored Republican uh, Senate and state Senate, which it'll undoubtedly pass there. The bill would create an unelected state-appointed court system in a district within Jackson, Mississippi, a majority Black city, with some concern that the move smacks of a modern-day Jim Crow regime. The Republican-controlled House passed HB 1020, as we noted last week, to expand the Capitol Complex Improvement District, a defined area within Jackson, and create a separate court system within the city, which is 83% Black. Um, and this is the thing with that, too. I mean, it creates really a white justice system and a separate one for African Americans. And guys, we know that we've been talking about this. And so we thought it was really vital to get Congressman Bennie Thompson to talk about it. We heard from the congressman. He had an unexpected emergency. He has rescheduled with us. We anticipate having him on early next week, Tuesday, in fact. But in his stead, though, we have agreed to have on tomorrow on a special Let It Be Known the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, Chokwe Lumumba, to discuss this modern day Jim Crow issue. We know Chokwe Lumumba was the youngest mayor in the history of Jackson, and we spoke to him directly today. He will be joining us tomorrow for a very special edition of Let It Be Known at 5 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. I anticipate that Barrington Salmon and Austin Cooper, who's with us this afternoon, will be with us again tomorrow for this special report that the Black press feels urgent that we must bring it to you. Chokwe Lumumba also believes that it's urgent that Black America understands that this issue, Austin and Barrington, is not only affecting Mississippi, but it has tentacles that can stretch across the nation. Austin, Barrington, let me throw it to you. Your thoughts on this?
Well, it's painful that on February, what's the day, the 16th, 2023, almost 60 years after the assassination of NAACP Field Secretary for Mississippi, Medgar Evers, that we have to have this type of discussion, not in a historical context, because this is Black History Month. This is real life news. This is happening today, and you're absolutely right, Stacy and Barrington. This is just the beginning of these types of efforts all across the United States, particularly in the South, and we need to be awake and ready for it.
Yeah, no question about it. Again, Barrington, I'm going to throw it to you, but I have to emphasize that just before we went on air, Congressman Bennie Thompson let us know that he had a situation I don't think they mind us saying it. It was a dental situation that where he could not appear with us. They wanted to give him a couple of days to heal, so we're expecting on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time to have Bennie Thompson. But again, tomorrow we have a very special report again on this issue with Mayor of Jackson, Barrington.
I was just thinking that I remember hearing Coretta Scott King and Bernice Reagan saying that every generation has to fight for their freedom. And so what we're seeing is that these forces of regression and evil never sleep, they never rest. And they're not wearing Klan robes and hoods anymore. They're wearing nice three-piece suits and that type of thing, but their dirty racist mentality is very much alive. And I'm glad that we're letting folks who may not know become aware of what this is. And the most important thing is that we have to mobilize and organize and let these people understand that if we're not comfortable, their asses ain't gonna sleep.
And as as you gentlemen know, my family is from Miami, and I am of Bahamian descent. And Valentine's Day made 22 years since my dad departed this earth. And Dad was an Episcopal priest and very active in the civil rights movement in Miami and in Cleveland, where he spent most of his ministry. And I was talking to my mom, who is retired now. Mom will be 87, God willing, on March 27th. And she said two things that stood out to me. One, she said, is I'm so glad that Austin is no longer here to witness this. And she also said, and I can't believe that in the twilight of my life, I am witnessing what I experienced growing up, the little girls. Mom and Dad told me stories of seeing the Ku Klux Klan coming down the street in Coconut Grove, Florida. Right. And it's just a bad time for America.
And so they want to put all of these let's face it, they want to put white Republican officials in charge of the mayor there, in charge of the citizens, and they don't want any voting to take place. This legislation is all appointees. It will be all appointees, and they already have Attorney General Lynn Fitch. And just those who missed it, just a little brief history of Attorney General Lynn Fitch, whose history is steeped in racism. Here is a small part of what the Daily Beast recently wrote in a profile of Fitch that mentioned her family's 8,000-acre farm known as Galena Plantation, aka Fitch Farms, where she spent her childhood weekends horse riding and hunting quail. The site was originally owned by William Henry Cox, whom one newspaper in 1894 described as, quote, a rabid successionist. Another Cox property website says of the first Galena plantation house, which was destroyed in the 50s, that bricks for the foundation and the chimneys were burned on the place by slave workmen, and the fine interior detailing was also the work of slave carpenters. An African-American genealogy site places the number of enslaved folks forced to labor at Galena Plantation at 104. And a 1971 article from Mississippi's Clarion Ledger notes that the slave quarters at the farm were so large it was mistaken for a village. Bill Fitch, Lynn's father, the current Attorney General's father, renovated that once meager housing, and today is likely among the lodgings available to paying guests of the plantation. As sort of, they called it a sort of Confederate Disneyland on the same site where Black folks were enslaved and subjected to abuses we will never fully know. This is the current Attorney General in her history.
And it goes to show you, this is once again a painful reminder, not only to the three of us, but to all Americans, not just Black Americans, but all Americans, that that racism is learned in the home.
Yeah.
Hatred is learned in the home. If you put a black preschooler with a white preschooler
Mm-hmm.
and just let them be natural kids, they're going to get along. Same with first, second, and third grade. It is not natural to be a racist as a preschooler, but you hear it, you see it, you begin to visualize it, by listening to your parents and hearing, their stories, and it becomes ingrained in you.
Yep.
And the Attorney General didn't just become a racist when she assumed this position. She's always been a racist.
Mm-hmm.
And it appears that seems to be the litmus test for Mississippi voters to vote these people in, because I constantly read these stories of these people who are these legislators and public officials, elected officials, and they're very open with their unvarnished racism. And I guess because they've gerrymandered it in a manner that they're not going to lose, that they can pretty much say what they want, do what they want. I was wondering if the folks in Jackson, how they've responded, because I haven't heard anything. Are they demonstrating? Are they protesting? Are they trying to burn some stuff down? What's going on?
Yeah, and that's one of the questions that we wanted to ask the congressman, and certainly we'll put to the mayor tomorrow. But what most importantly, or just as importantly, we want to make, see what the Congressional Black Caucus is doing. And Bennie Thompson can answer that question as a member of the Congressional Black Caucus.
Yeah.
And also this morning during a call with the White House, I asked the question, what is the administration planning to do, if anything? They were talking about Biden's executive order that he issued today, and which follows up on his very first executive order, which is about racial equality. They wasn't prepared necessarily to answer that question. The Reverend Mark Thompson was on the call as well, as Ebony McMorris and others. But we are all interested in knowing, are they going to show some solidarity with Jackson and Mayor Lumumba?
It's sometimes, a lot of times it seems like they're a day late and a dollar short, because I would have assumed that for as long as that idiot number 45 was the president, that if folks weren't prepared, that they would have been preparing and organizing different ways to confront and to blunt this overt racism that is so prevalent now in public policy. But they still acting as if their pants are down.
Yeah. Well, Austin, as we said at the top too, the concerning thing, I mean, all of it is very concerning, but the idea, if it happens in one state, what's to stop it from going to the next and the next? Particularly, we've seen that with other issues, right?
Exactly. Certainly with the whole nonsense of critical race theory, everybody wants to be Trump minions. So I heard Reverend Al say he referred to Florida Governor DeSantis as baby Trump. Everybody wants to be baby Trumps. You've got Governor Greg Abbott out of Texas, who is sinking his teeth into nonsense with regard to critical race theory. And, going back, and Barrington made a very good point. Why were our brothers and sisters in the state of Mississippi not prepared for this? This is not something that just, came up overnight. A bill was drafted, it went through the legislative process, and it goes to the power of the ballot. Can not only be the ballot, but it starts there. And until our people begin to recognize that we ultimately have the power by voting, and it's not enough to only vote in presidential elections. I don't know the election cycle down there for the Attorney General and for other members of the legislature. But the point I'm trying to make is, we shouldn't need Barack Obama to be on the ticket to get out and vote.
But I will challenge you there, Austin, because before the midterms, the Congressional Black Caucus and Black legislators went to court to try to get them to change the gerrymandered
The maps, yeah.
the map, and the Supreme Court said that that's not in their purview anymore, and they basically tossed it back. So what we're dealing with is a multi-pronged hydra. You're not getting any help from the traditional spaces that would help.
Mhm.
Because of the, I don't even want to call it power, because of what Republicans have done, Congress has not done what it needs to do. They refused after the last time to renew the Voting Rights Act. The Supreme Court, John Roberts and his court gutted it in 2013 or 14, I think. So, and then all of these legislators who are doing the gerrymandering and stealing elections, they continue unabated. So the problem that we have is that you can vote, but are they going to count it?
Well, I mean, I agree. You are 200% right, Barrington, as you always are. But you point to the no, seriously. But you point to the Supreme Court. Well, the Supreme Court is appointed by the President of the United States. You just referenced the Chief Justice. I forgot who appointed the Chief Justice, but it wasn't a Democrat. So all of these. So again, it goes back to how voting is intertwined at the federal, state, and local levels of government.
Again, you're watching a very special report of Let It Be Known, the Black Press of America's flagship live stream program. Mississippi's House of Representatives have passed a Jim Crow law. It puts Jackson, 83% black Jackson, and the black mayor in Jackson under the control of selected, not elected, but selected white officials. It creates a separate justice system for whites and African Americans. This is 2023. It is happening. We were scheduled to have Congressman Bennie Thompson, as you know, with us from Mississippi. He had a dental emergency at the last minute. They informed us just before we went on the air. He will be with us on Tuesday. But again, tomorrow, a very special program again, because we're not letting this issue go away. Mayor Chokwe Lumumba will be with us at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And I know Barrington and Austin are going to bring the heat tomorrow too, but we want our viewers and our listeners and the readers of Black press newspapers everywhere, and many of our publishers, I understand, are watching this program this afternoon. We need our publishers to share this program over their platforms. Don't just hit like on the button, hit the button that says share, because everyone needs to know about this critical issue. Everyone, the Black press, we have more than 30 million combined subscribers, and every single one of them needs to know about it, which means that all of our newspapers, all of our media company owners have to get involved and make sure that they watch this interview with Mayor Lumumba tomorrow and with Congressman Bennie Thompson on Tuesday, and continue to watch as we bring you updates, because next week the Senate is going to vote on this bill, the state Senate, and the Republican-led state Senate, that is. So it's going to pass.
And the Republican governor is going to sign it.
And the Republican governor is going to sign it.
And we should also remember that a law is going through the House that would basically remove Jackson's mayor, Mayor Lumumba. And I think that's only like a few weeks old that the story came out that they're trying to remove him. So this is a concerted effort. The thing is, I tell people all the time, while we're sleeping, they're working.
Mm-hmm. 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 And that's it, right? So it's going to be interesting to hear from Mayor Lumumba tomorrow, because as Barrington said, that's a great point he brings up. They are actively trying to remove this mayor.
That's right.
And the way they're moving in Mississippi, don't count it out.
And these same folk who are actively looking to remove this mayor, if it was at the federal level, would turn a blind eye to impeaching Donald Trump. I mean,
Yeah.
racism is tied, it's all intertwined. And while it's very important for the Black press to bring the heat to Mississippi on this issue and the water issue and other related issues down there, it's also important that, and this was, you all referenced it earlier, that that the Congressional Black Caucus as a group, go down to Mississippi and bring the heat and stand in solidarity and support with this young brother mayor and Chairman Bennie Thompson. And if we can get the vice president to be a part of this trip, the more attention, the better. But to Barrington's point, the work is not going to end with the press conference or the hearing. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
But an important first step to get the CBC down there.
Yeah, and CBC must in my view, they must stand in solidarity with the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi. And Bennie Thompson, of course, is a member of the CBC. And there you see Mayor Chokwe Lamama. Again, tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Join us then. And again, stay tuned because we are anticipating, based on the congressman's own words, that we will have the congressman on Tuesday morning at 10 Eastern Standard Time. Thanks so much, of course, Austin Cooper of the Washington Informer, and Barrington Salmon, an NNPA journalist who is all over the place. We appreciate both of you guys' real hard work and your input on this very, very important topic. Stay tuned. And don't forget to join Let It Be Known on our regularly scheduled time tomorrow morning at 7:30 for more news and information from the Black Press of America. We will see you then.